Welcome back to Off Record On Point, the workplace culture podcast with that all-important twist. I'm Julia Linehan, founder and CEO of The Digital Voice.
And I'm Casey Long. Today, we're joined by Jon Walsh, entrepreneur, author, and co-founder of jobsandadtech.com. And as always, you can check the description for our usual list of resources to keep the conversation going. Here's a sneak peek at what's in store.
So one thing, whether it be tech or software or platform, that came to market that you wish hadn't.
There is nothing that's come to market that I wish hadn't. I am a staunch believer in a free market, and I believe that platforms and products and services will succeed if they're good and will die if they're bad. And I'm okay with that.
These communities are really genuinely helping people. How is having these type of groups changing the game for the industry and for the people within it, outside of just debating pineapple on pizza?
I do think that there has been a shift in tone within the industry to being more collaborative, less divisive. I also think that it's sped up and removed friction in business. So someone says I'm looking for an SSP that does this. Well, straight away there's a DM that goes in there and a conversation starts.
Were there specific problems in the market that gave you that idea for jobs in ad tech above and beyond what you've already said?
Here's how I see it, and there's a couple of things that prevail through what I do now, and it all comes from my values. What I want to do is remove friction and connect people faster.
With the market all over the place in 2024, today's episode is all about surviving the job market. Julia, give us the lay of the land.
Oh, do you know what? There's no doubt it's been a hell of a roller coaster the last few years, and ad tech has definitely been along for that ride. It's still looking a little bit tricky out there. There's been numerous, I think it feels like daily instances of layoffs happening and surges in redundancy. And we're still seeing it slightly subdued. But on the whole, though, the good news is the job market is showing signs of almost like those crocuses bursting out in spring. And I think, if I'm right, there was a stat that said the US ad business had gained 2,000 plus jobs. And overall, US employment is growing fastest paced in a year. So we're seeing signs, and hopefully as well, the man we have on today's show is going to give us a bit more insight and hopefully some cheery news. So welcome, Jon.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
We're very glad to have you here. Now this is going to be hard for you, Jon, because I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself in a minute or so, or a minute or less. What do you do and how did you get to where you are?
What do I do? Well, backstory briefly, I've been in ad tech for almost a quarter of a century now, generally on the sell side. I've built a few companies, managed to get a couple of exits, and my most recent job, if you like, was I was running one of the tier 2 SSPs for Europe. And I had to quit that in 2021 to look after a very poorly family member.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, do you know what? It's life. It's life. You just have to deal with these things as we get older.
Yeah.
So I'm looking after a poorly family member, and I set up some WhatsApp groups, and we'll talk about those in a bit. those kind of exploded. And I realized that along the way, and you talked about the layoffs that we've been having, Julia, like the end of 2022, like these layoffs like kicked in hard. Google and Meta and Amazon, and then it was going on across the ad tech sector. And I basically realized to set up the industry needed a job site. It was just really fragmented in terms of how do you get a role in this industry. We've got lots and lots of recruiters. There's no central repository. Like it was just broken. And when I realized I could buy the URL jobsinadtech.com, it all kind of came together. So I'm the co-founder of Jobs in AdTech. That's the largest job site now in the entire industry. It's not hard. I think we're really the only one, only standalone one that I know of. And I run the WhatsApp groups for the industry and the whole community. And I think we're over 4,500 people across those groups now. And I've got other plans going forward. But long story short, when you ask what do, I no longer work in ad tech. I now work for ad tech. So whether it's marketing or whether it's recruitment, not as an agency but as a job site, I'm basically here to support the ad tech industry and even more so the AdTech community.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? I love it. I love it that the name does what it says on the tin. So it's a really good one
Jobs in
that happens
AdTech.
to be available. Jon, you mentioned, that JobsinAdtech.com was born out of a lot of the darker side of seeing all those redundancies. And I touched on the fact that spring is coming for the world, and also hopefully in the job market, seeing some of those crocuses. Oh God, I'm terrible at gardening. I don't even know why I decided to go down the route of gardening. Crocus is blooming. Let's go with that. What are you seeing in the market right now? What are you seeing in the market right now?
So I'm seeing green shoots of recovery, but it's with pockets. It's with certain types of roles, certain types of companies. There is some positivity out there, but I think it's still early days.
Yeah.
The UK economy went into recession at the end of last year, so I think it's going to be a little while, maybe later in the summer or even towards sort of Q3, Q4 before we really see an explosion. Maybe that's even too strong, but a significant uptick within the jobs market, within the industry. But it's looking positive, and I remain positive.
Good.
That's optimistic. So Jon, we know maybe more than, I don't want to say any other guests, but more than lots of other guests we've had on the show, AdTech is thoroughly baked into your DNA completely. And you touched on the WhatsApp groups when you were introducing yourself there. We know they've absolutely skyrocketed. We're all in on them with you. What inspired it? What's a little bit of the backstory on them?
There's two sides to this. Primarily, I have
Go on, Jon.
I have to give a lot of credit to Julia. So Julia and a wonderful man called Gavin had a WhatsApp group. It was great, and I really enjoyed it, and it was great fun. And then they decided to move it to Slack. And this all kind of coincided around the pandemic. And I'm sat at home one day, and I am, it's heavy for me. I'm caring for this parent that's not well. And we couldn't go out, we couldn't mix with people. And I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I love other people, and I want to be connected. And it's we kind of give what we want to receive the most in life. So for me, it's like, okay, I wanted to create this, and I just wanted to be able to have a place where I could shit post with my peers and my mates, and we could shit on the industry, and AdTech's far from perfect. And we're not saving lives in what we do, and I like that aspect of it. Let's be honest about what it really is and what we really do. And also, we have a shared reality. And one of the issues that we've seen over the last few years, particularly with social media, is this kind of fractured reality of people, the pandemic deniers, and the Bill Gates is trying to kill us all, and all this kind of nonsense. And at least within our industry, we have this kind of shared reality. We have this shared understanding of stupid 3-letter acronyms, and we can talk about, we're slightly, fiddling whilst Rome burns at the time. But, at least it was something that we could all care about. We all kind of know about. And it just, with Julia having created hers, and it was going really well. And due to the I'm sure she can comment on it, but it moved it over to Slack, and I fucking hate Slack. I think it's
didn't
just
we
a
know it?
Experience. Yeah.
Can I just state for the record? I would have stayed for the record. It was by democratic poll that on those digital industry lads and ladies, and the people voted. And there was a reason we'd hit our maximum of 256. We couldn't get anyone else in. So it did go over to Slack. But I do agree with Jon. It just didn't work. It just didn't have that same. And even for me, I sit on WhatsApp in the evening, but I'm less likely to want to sit on Slack because I sit on Slack during the day. So you did come to me and say, can we just get it back on WhatsApp? And I was like, you take it, you run with it, and you have done it brilliantly.
Do you know what? I got lucky, right? I did a few things right, but I also got lucky. The thing where I got lucky was it was 256 was the limit for when I started it. And within 4 months, they raised it to 512.
Oh, nice.
And then another 4 months later, they raised it to 1,024. But also what I realized was, it was getting full so quickly. I created offshoot groups. So the main group became AdTech Chat Global, and then we had AdTech Chat North America, EMEA, LATAM, APAC. Then there were groups for, and also I noticed whenever like it got a bit too like football chat in there, it's like, screw it, I'm going to create a separate football chat.
Brilliant. Thank God for that.
Because I get it. Like, let's try and have some purity to the groups.
Yeah.
And now we've got like 30 working groups. I consider that they're owned by the community. People go, I want to invite, just invite people in. It's a really great community. And, the groups that I'm most proud of is like the AdOps group. And I don't know if any of you guys are in there, but it's almost like an AdOps help desk.
Yeah.
Someone says, oh, I've got a problem uploading this creative into GAM. And someone go, well, show me what you're doing. Okay, cool. And it's solved within. And no one pays to be in there. And it's just everyone's supporting each other to help make the industry better. And like, I'm so proud of that. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And all I did was create a vessel, and other people have filled it. And it's the genuine, hardworking, good people of our industry that actually make it. It's got bugger all to do with me. The other thing that makes it work is WhatsApp's ubiquity. Everyone uses WhatsApp, and we talk differently on WhatsApp to how we talk on other platforms.
It's true.
Because it's closed. I've been working through my head, what is the psychology behind all of this? And it's we talk with our mum and dad on WhatsApp. We talk with our girlfriends or our boyfriends on WhatsApp. It's just got a different vibe to it. And the vibe continues into the group. So people can swear, people post memes and GIFs, and it's just great fun and really supportive when it needs to be.
We're glad you've kept it that way.
But you haven't. There's one thing though that you haven't touched on, and it's the most divisive topic in the AdTech group is pineapple on pizza.
The pineapple on pizza.
So I need an answer from you now, John. This is very important, and then I'll come to you, Casey.
I was going to say,
pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Oh, I'm totally pro. I'm totally pro pineapple on pizza.
Yes, John.
Pro. I'm pro. Camelia's a no. Ren's a yes. Producer Ren's a yes.
I'm a born and raised New Yorker. Like the best pizza ever, hands down. I will gladly put pineapple on that pizza. That should be the end of the discussion. In my humble pizza eating opinion, like, to each their own. If you're going to put pineapple on it, I support it. Look at this, unanimous. Camellia, I'm sorry, you're outnumbered here, and we're all for pineapple on pizza. Is there a subgroup for pineapple lovers versus non-pineapple lovers?
Thank God, no. I can be more divisive, and I like anchovies and pineapple on pizza.
Ooh.
Okay, we now need to
as a combination.
Now
I'm losing you.
Anchovies just crossed the line. Anchovies just crossed the line.
That's the end of it. That's gone
But
now.
the funny thing is about it, right? It's like in the group, the pineapple on pizza meme, which it's pretty much become now, is it's the glue that holds the group together, right? It's this stupid, inane, it means nothing, it's just a silly thing, but but we've got a callback to a joke that's constantly referenced.
Yeah.
People actually complain to me. I have DMs from people saying, "Can you stop them talking about it?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to."
No way. No, and in all seriousness, though, it's so wonderful, John, the way you talk about the way a lot of it kind of came about in the pandemic, when a lot of people in a lot of our industry was feeling strained or cut off from, these networks and the people that they were used to seeing out and about. And me and Julia talk about communities a lot across a lot of our episodes and in general throughout our industry. These communities are really genuinely helping people. How is having these type of groups changing the game for the industry and for the people within it, outside of just debating pineapple on pizza?
So it's hard for me to say specifically, but I do think that there has been a shift in tone within the industry to being more collaborative, less divisive. I also think that it's sped up and remove friction in business. So someone says like, oh, I'm looking for an SSP that does this. Well, straight away there's a DM that goes in there and a conversation starts. We don't need to do that. And there's an intimacy within the group that already resides. So for the people that talk, and especially the people that share real value or are particularly funny or particularly warm or charismatic, people still buy people more than people buy product, right? So if you go, I really like that guy, I really like that girl, and then they're DMing you going, hey, listen, I can help you out with this. A conversation is started. Friction is removed in terms of, the traditional trying to get a phone call in to do business or a cold email or anything at all like that. So I feel that the groups have helped bring a warmth and deeper connection for the industry, and business has been sped up for the people that are willing to be brave and take part in that. And to not see it, I see the groups as part of their roles, not separate to it.
Yeah. I'm curious though, Jon, because I'm going to go a bit dark here, because there is a dark side in a way to AdTech, and that there's a lot that needs to be changed right now. But I'm curious as to whether you think, is there one thing, whether it be tech or software or platform, that came to market that you wish hadn't, that's doing more damage than good?
Okay. I'm going to answer this in a different way. There is nothing that's come to market that I wish hadn't. I am a staunch believer in a free market, and I believe that platforms and products and services will succeed if they're good and will die if they're bad. And I'm okay with that. I don't think it's my place to get involved in saying this shouldn't exist. I think that that's quite draconian. And it's not the way that I view the world, that I'm kind of okay with everything. And it might not be for me, but it could be for someone else. And it's a much more kind of pragmatic approach. So I don't think there are, even things like the pop-up, when we had the sodding pop-up, pop-ups annoyed the hell out of me.
No, subsites, Jon, were the best.
Yeah.
Remember the full site that opened up, subsites, God.
Oh, the pop unders, yeah. That was Phil Cooper's fault.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But you know what? But the free market goes, we don't want this anymore. Like it drains it, and then it goes. I think the biggest shame of the industry was kind of around the 2001 .com crash, and money got. Just the way the .com kind of exploded in the first place, and people were spending, the VCs were giving stupid amounts of money to stupid companies who were then spending it on a limited supply of online advertising. And when the bubble burst, there was suddenly no money for these publishers, and everything went very direct response. If you remember, it was very heavily DR for a long time, and the publishers that tried to survive just threw up more and more ad units, how the pop-up and the pop-under came through. And we just got a very commoditized industry far too fast. And I think that's been the shame, where, I think that, and now at least with the cookie starting to disappear, high quality publishing should command high quality CPMs. So I everything happens for a reason. When the industries move through as they and evolve as they do. I just think it was a shame that for so long we've had commoditized media inventory rather than value really good quality journalism, and it's been a bit of a race to the bottom, not just in terms of prices, but also in terms of kind of clickbait. I hate the fact that we even have this term clickbait.
I know.
Yeah,
it's strange. Agreed. I mean, I've been in AdTech as long as you have, Jon, and I still look back and think we've come a hell of a long way. And for every negative and every product that's done our industry a disservice, we've somehow managed to, out of that has born another new idea that has made a hell of a difference. I'm curious to see. I'd love to be back here again in 5 years' time and go, we're really pushing the boundaries on creativity and performance and things actually back to being consumer first, but meaning it, not just, again, that race to the bottom and that long tail and all of the stuff that necessarily hasn't played out so well.
The industry's never done. We will continue to evolve.
Yeah.
It's like, in fact, you're old enough and I'm old enough to remember when this was called new media.
Yeah.
Right?
That was my first job title. in 96,
Yeah,
new
me
media
too.
manager.
Wow. Look where we are now.
I used to sell saying, look, it's digital. You can give me a blue banner and a red banner, and I can run them both in conjunction and equally weighted, and we can see after a week which one gets more clicks, and I can weight it to the
We
one that
thought we were
gets
so
more clicks.
clever.
Yeah, I mean,
You were, though. Relative. Like, that was really clever.
We made up stats and put them in an Excel spreadsheet. I don't know. No, we didn't.
exactly.
We did not do that back in 1960.
Oh, I have stories. I have stories.
We need to do an off-record podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
curious,
another
Jon,
time.
though, and I want to loop it back because I think one of the things that we're always focused on these is about workplace culture, and this is
Yeah.
especially an important time for people out there in the jobs market who need a
Yeah.
helping hand and who want to get back in the market or in a different
Mm.
role. Were there specific problems in the market that gave you that idea for jobs in ad tech above and beyond what you've already said? And I suppose the other question is, what's the solution? And if you starting to think, actually, we need to change it up, we need to do something different.
Here's how I see it, and there's a couple of things that prevail through what I do now, and it all comes from my values. What I want to do is remove friction and connect people faster. And that was really the concept behind jobs in ad tech. But it only really worked because I could get that URL. So if anyone Googles ad tech jobs, work in ad tech, jobs in ad tech, we're natural search number one, which is what we want. And I see lots of clients that come through that I've never spoken to. I don't know them. And they will say, I found you through Google because we have a drop down menu. How did you hear about us? What was crazy to me is just the fact that we're a digital media industry and there wasn't any digital media way of finding jobs. In some ways we can be so antiquated in how we work. And I think that gives lots of opportunity. I think that from an individual perspective, one of the things that I see starting to be fixed in the industry is people are hired into roles. That's your job. Get on with your job. Do your job as best you can. But there's been a lack of real training and development within one's own role. So, one of the things that I would love to see more companies doing is temporary not job swaps, but job shadowing. I think AdOps need to know what's going on in sales or client development. I think that we need a greater appreciation of other people's roles within our own businesses so that we can have greater levels of empathy for what they're dealing with. So we're not just getting pissed off with, AdOps have screwed up again, or we don't understand each other's roles. Yeah. And I think that particularly with hybrid working, when we're not in an office environment, it is so hard to really have that. So some way of gaining greater appreciations of different job roles within one's own organization.
It's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
I want that. One of the things that I love with the WhatsApp groups is I get to learn. I am far from the smartest guy in the industry. I'm far from the most knowledgeable guy in the industry. And I get to learn from people who've got far more knowledge than I do. And I think that's I'd pay for that. I think it's great. I want that, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
We saw each other recently at the Exchange Wire Industry Review launch party. And when we were stood outside, me and Julia were on our way out saying hello. And you were saying you're not in any of this for the cash or the money or to come out and amassing some fortune out of it all. So we wanted to know what makes you passionate about going all in on these WhatsApp groups and on jobs in ad tech. What is the real motivation in that case?
I'm definitely in it for the money. Let's be straight on that, right? So I don't know what I'd be.
Fair enough.
No, I think you were saying, and I think, Jon, actually what you said, but you're not in the game for the money.
Yeah.
So I think that's the important bit, that you were like, the game is more about other things.
Yeah, totally. Look.
Yeah, no, that was me misquoting you. Sorry.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with making. There's nothing wrong with making money, and I don't. And I we're in the most commercial industry you could possibly be in the world, other than maybe banking. So I think that money is relevant and important for all of us, but it's not everything that I'm about. And also, I'm not in life for money over principles. And like who I am and my principles are super important. I've got 2 kids, and when if I talk to them about what Daddy does, then I think it's really, I'm going to have a legacy. I want to have a legacy, and I don't want to be just wealthy and no one. Maybe it's just I just want to be liked. Maybe it comes back to my own insecurities, and I just want to be liked. But there is a level of truth to that.
I'll tell you what. When we post this on the AdTech group, we'll say, "Can everybody please shower Jon with love?"
Show some love.
Yeah, no. Do you know what? And then I don't want that, because then it's too much attention on me. I know. So I tell you what really drives me. Like I've been considering this for quite a while, and it's this values of I like to add value. And I really like connecting people. If I know I can connect 2 people who are really useful to each other, or a person to an opportunity, like I do get reflective love. I get reflective glory.
You guys
and I think
both very like that too.
Yeah, I'd love that. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, which is why Jules and I get on, and like there's areas where we kind of like, and I've actually noticed it with you, Julia, when we meet up at events, you're just like me, and they go, "Oh, you need to speak to Steve. Steve's doing this. Steve, you need to meet Jon." But also, it allows you to extricate yourself from the conversation to grab a minute for yourself.
Stop it! Don't.
And I do the same.
Real secret now, Jon.
Yeah, like if you ever see me at events, I am outside a lot, and one of the reasons is because I can only handle lots of people for like 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time, and then I just I need a break. I get claustrophobic with it. And it's this constant tension we have within ourselves of you want something but not too much of it.
Yeah.
So like even I mute the WhatsApp groups loads. Don't tell them. But I know.
This is exclusive. On top of the pineapple on pizza, on top of the Jon's in it for the money, this is the third breaking exclusive. Jon,
one bombshell after another.
Now, Casey, are you aware though that people who mute the group get pruned and extradited?
I should be concerned in that case. I think then. Please don't hack me out of there, Jon.
I need to create a Coventry version of WhatsApp.
Yeah, do you know what? There's certain bits I would love, and I always say, because we obviously look after groups, different groups as well, like DLL, and with the other co-founders. But one thing I always say, and what you get out of it is what you put into it. You've got to lean in as well, and even if a topic's not necessarily right for me, I still at least give it the airtime as much as I can. Not all the time. There was a conversation going on today, and I'll glance at it. But I'll certainly give a bit of a thumbs up or support
cheeky emoji
when
reaction.
Needed. A little emoji reaction, or certainly then lean in when I can. And I love the fact you tag somebody and then they're able to know to be part of that conversation. But it is hugely important. Communities really do create so much value for people, and I'd recommend people lean in more.
Look, I agree. Look, WhatsApp is great in just the way it's devised. But you're absolutely right. You do get out of it what you put into it, which is
like anything.
An analogy for life, right? And I would love more people. The groups are, especially the global group, is full. I've got over 650 people in the identity group, but probably like life, there's only 10-15% who are actually the active ones chatting in there. And I would love to encourage more people to just find their voice.
Find their voice. Yeah, I agree. I think that's important, and I think people just need to be less worried about whether they're saying the wrong thing. And a lot of people are happy to be lurkers, and they still say they get a lot out of it, actually, but they're absorbing and they're not giving back. So sometimes you do think, come on, give a little.
Yeah, there's people that have a positive charge or a negative charge, don't they? They're either going to give you a little something, or they're going to lurk there and take a little something.
It's really interesting to see, and you'll see that the ones that are quiet may be reflected in how they actually live their lives too. We've got our own little personalities that go on in there, and I think that our personalities on what's happened in the groups is the most reflective from a social media standpoint to our real lives. LinkedIn most definitely isn't. LinkedIn is just everyone's trying to be on their best behavior, and it's like, it's okay.
I think people are starting to open up on LinkedIn more, though. Like, I think the people that do show their human side are rewarded for it more and more.
But I wonder if it's still authentic, or whether they understand that that gets more likes and engagements. There's a fine line. You can really read through the lines. I'll tell you though, and actually I wanted to, because this is something I'm seeing on LinkedIn and in the market, is a worrying trend to there being a lot of senior people, especially men, who are struggling to find roles and have got the green banner on there. And I feel really concerned about that. And Jon, you know, we go back a long way, and there's a lot of people of our probably age that are struggling to find roles. And I'd love to understand if you've got an idea of what they need to do. Is it training? Is it diversifying? Is it moving industries? Is it changing the role and the position and going, I can't be a managing director anymore, but I can still bring value at a different level, and not just going down that I'm going to be a consultant route?
So I think it's all of the above. I think that you know, I don't want to get into the gender conversation too much, but I will say that I think that men in particular seem to have, and I include myself in this, greater level of ego than maybe their female compatriots. And what that can mean is that they think they're worth a certain amount of money because that's what they were being paid last, and a certain type of job title, and you know, they don't want to consider that maybe the market has moved. It's not about their age, it's not about their race, it's not about their genitalia, it's about what work they can actually do. And I think that going back to something you said earlier, Casey, is it like what you put in is what you get out. So if these people have always been comfortable in their positions, they haven't built as wide a network, maybe they've even been in quite senior positions and have sometimes been a bit shitty towards people. I'm not saying that is the case for everyone, but you know, this harmonizing of oneself to be more considerate and responsive and understanding of others who maybe are in lower positions than you, like, this can come back and bite you on the bum.
We say it all the time, that people you meet on the way up, you meet them all on the way back down.
Way up, you're going to meet the way down. So remember how you treat people. 100%. I think people are getting that, have got that wrong. I think what you're saying is 100% what I see.
And you know, no one's career moves up in a straight line, right? It's just
little squiggly career. We're doing another episode on squiggly careers just because of that. It's just insane.
But no one tells us this, or no one helps us to really understand this when we're at the start of it. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, I ask my kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, even I haven't decided what I want to be when I grow up. I kind of, in fact, it's only now in the last sort of year or two that I'm really getting who I am in my career. Before, it's always been about making money, and I think this is probably where I was going with what I said to you. Before, it's always been like, okay, I need to make money, I need to get wealthy, I need to do all this stuff, I want to live this life. And now I'm okay. I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, what is it that I want to do? I don't care about making huge amounts of money, but I think that when we synchronize who we are with our careers, that's where I actually think the money really starts to come in. It's like you're authentically living your career. And where I am now, that's where I feel that I'm really getting to.
You're aligned with your values.
Aligned, but from a career perspective, right? That's really interesting, because most of the time it's like most people leave university and don't really know what to do next. And often you'll hear so many people in the industry go, I just fell into advertising, whether it's agency side, whether it's sales side. That may be shifting in the last few years where people want to get into tech. But when I tell people that I'm in AdTech, they're like, AdTech? And in fact, they know EdTech better, educational technology first.
Oh gosh, that's fintech, a new one for me.
EdTech, fintech, biotech, all these others. AdTech is actually not that well known still out in the wild world. You know, everyone knows Meta and Google, but even still, most people haven't heard of the Trade Desk or Criteo in the wider world unless they're kind of playing the stock market.
I think your point is as well, don't fear the squiggly career path. Remember that you're going to have to look sideways and slightly in different roles, and not just keep going, I was this money and I was at an MD or C-suite level, it has to
SVPs,
be
whatever.
trying something else, and also remembering for everybody on their way up, treat people exactly as you'd expect to be treated yourself, and don't ever piss anybody off or be an arsehole.
What a perfect summary.
Don't be an arsehole, I think, is really,
Yeah,
really
don't
good.
be an
And
arsehole.
I also think don't be a victim. You're not struggling because you're white or male, right? And if you want to, like, I know that there can be a lot of shade thrown on the whole DE&I stuff, which is probably for a whole different podcast, but, you know, you're not a victim to it. Get out there, show yourself, you know, turn up, show up, and do something. And for me, when I was out of work, I had some money in the bank and I was okay, but I created WhatsApp groups, and then suddenly everything kind of springs from it, and it allowed me to reflect back on who am I, and I'm doing some really fun, enjoyable things.
You leaned in with maximum effort, Jon. That's definitely, you went for it. And before we go into our quick fire round, one final question. From what we've heard, you clearly have lots of fingers and more than a few pies all over the industry. What is your confidential lowdown on what you've got brewing? Exclusive to us. Give us a little bit of gossip. What's coming up next?
Okay. So I'm not going to go into details, but I can give you the kind of top line view. So there is a problem in the industry that, especially since the pandemic, phones have gone away. And this is a hindrance to business being created and done. So I am on a mission to bring back telephone calls, particularly for cold calls.
Ooh.
And I believe that, and again, this goes back to my value of how can I connect people? How can I help remove friction? So that's my next project. Is being worked on in the background.
Can't wait.
And I'm really excited. There's nothing like this at all in the industry, in the market. And I don't think there's really anything in any other market. Like, I'm doing something completely new.
Sounds awesome.
Bring back the phone. That's my campaign.
Love it. So, well, that's exclusive number 3. But let's see if during the quick fire round, when you've got to say the first thing that comes into your head, we're going to get you unstuck with this. So are you ready, Jon, for your quick fire round? You've got to answer the first thing that comes to mind. Snap, snap, snap. Here we go.
Go for it.
Jon Walsh, what's one thing that's going to change the game in AdTech in 2024? You might have just said it.
Yeah, my next business.
Jon's next business. What's the worst interview story you have, yours or someone else's?
Worst interview stories. Shit. I was trying to break into the industry, into digital media it was, and I had an interview at AOL when they were in West London, Barron's Court, was it?
Yeah.
Sort of Hammersmith, long time ago. And it was via a recruiter, and I had the interview at 10 o'clock, turned up at 10 o'clock. I was left waiting in reception for 20 minutes. Then someone came over and said, I'm really sorry, that person's off sick this morning.
Oh.
Or off sick today. And I was like, why has it taken 20 minutes? I didn't say it, but this is what I was thinking. Yeah. It's taken 20 minutes for them to come and tell me. The recruiter's not called me. Like, this is just really poor communication across the board. And I was like, I think AOL invited me back for an interview at another time. And I was just like, if you're going to treat me like this at the interview, I don't want to work for your business.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, note to self on companies, treat people well during the interview process. Perfect. Right. Question 3. What mustn't people do in their CVs?
Hyperbole. Stop telling people about how amazing and wonderful and great you are and phenomenal. Don't use superlatives. People just want to know, who are you? What were you responsible for? What have you actually achieved? Give numbers, make it solid, and don't write 6 pages. No one's got any time for that.
Oh, no.
Make it easy to read. Make it easy on the eye.
Don't use ChatGPT. Be real. Be you.
Yeah, I think we've hit all the notes on that.
Good. That's really good advice. Okay, who's the most vocal in the AdTech main chat WhatsApp group?
Rob Webster.
I didn't know he was going to be that, or Neil, or Gavin. Okay, you said
it
could be any of those, couldn't it?
Eaton, he's great. He's funny. He's brilliant. Webster, who's just has a sardonic
He
tone
knows
to
the
everything.
answer.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm throwing an extra question in. You said you're not the smartest guy in the room, which was a shocker to everyone. Who is?
who's the smartest guy in the room? Okay,
Smartest person in the
yes.
room.
So it depends on what topic, right? So there's people that I really like who I know super smart, like Rich Ashton, who when it comes to sort of like finance and M&A and understanding those markets, I would say he's probably the smartest guy in the room there on that topic. So I think that there are different people who are super clued up on different topics. Paul Gubbins, although he's not in the groups, if you want to know something on CTV,
if you want to
Paul.
know CTV, check out his polls and give your answers like that.
Like, he knows his shit, right? But if I came to like affiliate advertising, no, he probably doesn't. And this is one of my points. There are no experts. We all have our field of expertise. And what my field of expertise, I would say, is on just the wider community. I'm a he's kind of the jack of all trades, master of none.
No, a little bit about everything. Go on, Joe. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm shallow knowledge on lots of things.
Perfect. Right. Quick answer on this one. How many red cards have you given in the group already this year?
Very few. Very few.
How many would you like to give?
Honestly, I'm so nice and lenient, and I give people chances. I've probably given dozens of yellow cards because it's a shot across the bow.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's not you. Everybody gives the yellow cards. It's like
exactly right.
Perfect.
But not many.
Fine.
Good.
Okay. Who's the one person not in the group that you wish was in there? You mentioned Gubbins, but is there anybody else?
Yeah, Gubbins is one.
Yeah. Anyone else that you just wish they were in the group? And we'll go and get them.
One of the heads of tradings at the agency. I can't name someone specifically, but I think it would be good to get their viewpoints.
That would be good. Final question then. If you had to choose one role right now that isn't what you do, what should you be doing instead?
For me?
Yeah.
Ooh,
You got to pick a different role. You can any role.
Oh, CTO. But if I had all the training and all the knowledge, I think it's one of the most interesting, getting to play with technology.
Amazing.
Julia, what would yours be?
Oh, God. See, no,
I got you.
I got loads. So I still want to be an actress. I'm a failed actress, but I love that. I always wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be on radio and be a radio presenter. So something like that. Shock horror involves my mouth and talking a lot. Wonderful. Well, Jon, you survived the quickfire round and you did a brilliant job today on this podcast. And I wanted to just highlight a few takeaways that I've thought about today. I think everybody needs to appreciate other people's roles was one of the things that stood out for me. Don't fear the squiggly career path. It will take you in a direction you don't know if that's going to be better for you. So give it a go. Have empathy. Think about what you're saying and think about what impact it has. Embrace and lean into community as much as possible. And above all, the market is going to be good. It's showing signs of growth and things are looking up. That's my takeaways from today. And thank you so much, Jon, for joining us. That was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Jon. And that is a wrap on this episode. But as always, for all of our listeners, there's much more to this conversation. Don't forget, you can check out our website for more reading and resources. And of course, check out jobsinadtech.com. Thank you so much, Jon. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Jon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks all.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Off Record On Point. Join us again next time for another confession from an industry game changer. But until next time, I'm Julia Linehan.
And I'm Casey Long. Enjoyed the conversation? Reach out and let us know by rating and reviewing on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And be sure to follow to never miss an episode.
You can stay connected with us at thedigitalvoice.co.uk and, of course, across all our social platforms. Just look out for The Digital Voice.
Join us again next time for another undercover industry deep dive, all off record, all on point.